Hello, Brian.
Greetings, Mike, James.
How are you doing today?
Great. It's a
Okay.
great day here in Arizona. Mike, I'm excited to tell you
Yes.
that it's been so hot in Arizona. Ask me how hot it is in Arizona.
How hot is it?
This was a white shirt and now it's sunburned. That's how hot it's been, Mike.
Nice.
When have you seen me wear red? Never.
Yeah, that's true. I don't recall seeing you
No.
wear red too much.
I'm taking the Tiger Woods approach by saying this is my power shirt. Usually he saves that for Sunday. Well, that's when he used to play. What's new with you, Mike? What's going on in your world?
Not too much. I've talked to you over the week, but I have not watched any of the Olympics. I always like watching Olympics, but one of the problems with getting off cable TV and all that live stuff is you don't get sports sometimes. And I just about a month ago finally canceled my Hulu Live
Oh,
because I just never watch it. And then of course the Olympics came up, but it's still not worth the cost to watch the Olympics. I can watch clips online, I guess. What
yeah.
about you?
I've watched. I watch, and then my wife has been watching. So periodically, I'll walk into the room, and then I'll see something insane. Like, have you seen water polo? Is one thing, but they do like a version of water polo on a court.
Like out of the water?
Yes, they run around, and then I think they get one dribble, and then they just throw it in the giant net. I'm like, what
So
constitutes an Olympic sport anymore? You know?
Hey, Brian, I just wanted to let you know I have a special guest I'm going to add to you.
Oh, my gosh.
Here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Hey, Rick.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Rick, I kid you not. Mike, Rick, I kid you not. This morning, I thought of you, Rick, and I prayed for you, and I was like, oh, my gosh, I haven't seen you in so long. Mike, this is a great surprise.
I didn't tell Brian, Rick, that you were going to be on, so I knew.
Olympic cyclist Rick Roberts is here, everybody. Rick, I'm so excited to see you, man.
Hey, man,
Seriously, all that was absolutely true this morning.
Well, thanks for the
You were
prayers.
just on my head.
Appreciate it, and man, it's good to see your all shiny faces. And we're all over 40, so we're wearing some goggles.
Wait, Rick Roberts? That's Rick Roberts. Okay.
Who's that guy?
Break out my other ones. Rick, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. I can give you a lot of details, or I can just tell you I'm doing pretty good. It's up to you.
Well, I think StreamYard and Facebook only has a limit.
Yeah, that's true.
Give us the highlights, Rick.
I'm no longer. I'm 2 weeks past radiation. I had radiation for 8 weeks, 38 trips to the old oncologist and whatnot, and doing pretty good, actually. God's been really good. I'm bouncing back fairly quick. I'd say I'm at 70% of my normal self, which is about 10% of the average human. So I'm like getting there, but no complaints, and summer's been good.
All right, good. You look fantastic.
Thank you.
Feeling good?
Yeah, pretty good. I have a hard time sleeping because I'm on this medicine that suppresses your testosterone because prostate cancer cells need testosterone to grow. And so they're blocking it, which means I have zero T and I experience all the benefits of menopause. So
well,
I've got hot flashes every 45 to 90 minutes. So I'm waking up all night long.
Well, maybe you'll be ready for the next Olympics.
I will be, and I can qualify maybe in male or female category.
There you go. Your choice. It's your world, Rick.
Hey, you know, the world's my oyster, and I'm allergic.
So
that's great. I knew that you're going through all that process, so I'm so glad to hear that things have gone well for you. I didn't realize that low T would somehow cause the effects of, I guess would be, what is that, estrogen, or what is it that causes all the hot flashes and stuff like that?
Yeah, so your testosterone typically when you're a fella greatly outweighs your estrogen.
Right.
So then you have very little estrogen. You might occasionally cry when you see a Hallmark commercial or something like that, but it's just testosterone is always just like get back, no feelings, let's go, let's have some energy and shut that down. And then when you shut down your testosterone all the way, you're just tired all the time. It's hard to focus, and then the estrogen pops up, and not only is it hard to focus, but like you want to join the online conversations after you watch The View, you know.
Side
But my
effect
nose
of
hair
food.
is not growing as much, and I'm starting to get that mustache from my Italian side, so it's all working out.
Oh, good. Glad to hear it.
But yeah, testosterone and sugar feed cancer cells. Testosterone feeds prostate cancer cells, and sugar feeds all those cells. So you got to
Right.
kind of watch both of those things. And
My
Yeah.
my wife's gone through the struggle of balancing all her hormones as she went through menopause and stuff. As she's gone through that, but one of the things was, you have to have a certain amount of testosterone and stuff, and so she was real low in that already, and her estrogens. But one of the treatments was, I think, overemphasized her testosterone, so that was causing a little bit of problem with her for little things. Primarily, she'd punch me in the face every morning, which I thought
Right.
was a little bad.
yeah, she started mansplaining why you're not taking out the garbage as much as you should.
She started leaving her socks on the floor. It was horrible.
Oh man, it's kind of crazy all the stuff that changes. But I think I'm getting to the other side. But I still got a lot of medicines to take, and
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I didn't take any medicine for a long time. I was when I went to the doctor, for whatever. Like, are you taking any medication? No. Now, daggone, my pill organizer looks like a tackle box. It's like, what are we doing today? Oh, we're fishing for lower cholesterol. We're fishing for lower diabetes. It's
That's
a
funny.
little-
By the way, this is a good point. At this time, we should introduce our sponsor, testosterone in liquid form. Just ask for it by name.
So, Rick, are you a big coffee drinker?
Yeah, and that's another thing is like when I went through radiation, because you want to take naps whenever you can, and when they focused a laser beam on my area, it also overlapped with intestines and all your digestive organs. So like you just couldn't really digest anything for a good 7 out of the 8 weeks. But I had to give up coffee so I could nap easier and I wouldn't irritate myself anymore. And man, coffee's the go juice of the world, man. How do you like? Not only did I already have low focus, but now I was like, why even get up? I'll tell you why. So you can get back in bed and take a nap.
By the way, let's not gloss over this. The laser toward your area. I had a vision of you as James Bond on a table.
It
I
was
was.
sort of like that.
It's funny you say that. I had the exact same vision, but it was you were Batman at the end of an episode.
Well, oddly, you should say Batman because as I was going into radiation, in the waiting room they kept showing all these movies, and like you gotta pick and choose what you're seeing. I didn't know. I don't want to see Brian's song right before I go in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But maybe Spider-Man. I kept looking for like a little spider to bring into the thing with me, so maybe I could have some extra skills and senses when I got out of there. But I tell you, no spiders in that whole office. I don't know what it is.
These doctors'
That's good.
offices today.
Oh, it's a mess, man. And no highlights magazine, just like funeral planning guides.
That's funny.
It's like, I remember the first day I went in there, you're a little nervous and all kinds of things you got to do. Like I'm dyslexic, so I've got the world stacked against me a little bit. But they didn't tell me that I needed to have a full bladder and an empty bowel, basically. Let's put it that way. So that the muscles around your organ area that they can focus on without being pushed in or whatever.
So when you go to the bathroom prior to this, it's a kind of a game of chicken. You don't.
Oh, well, let me tell you what, being dyslexic, I overloaded the bowel and forgot to drink anything. So I go in there and they're like, we can't even see your vacated prostate ghost town. What have you done? I said, well, I ate a full lunch. They're like, no, empty bowel, full bladder. You got to get off the table and go out and evacuate the area. And I'm like, well, I'm going to leave the hospital if I'm going to evacuate the area, and I'll come back in because the only restroom was right next to where they were. They didn't need to hear that. It sounded like a whale.
I don't know if anybody has that range of control, though.
Well, it's not easy. And then I got back in there, and they're like, "We can tell you still have gas." I'm like, "You can see that on the screen?" They're like, "Yeah."
You're like, please.
I know. And I didn't feel like I did. But then he goes, "You can let it out on the table, or you can take a walk." And I'm like, "I just met you guys. And letting it out in front of you, that's like a seventh date kind of."
Yeah, it's like, look, I like you guys as friends right now.
Thing. Yeah. It was just a little bit much, man. But
No, that is how you get to know people. And that is kind of the echelon for hello, we're best friends now.
It is like the lowest common denominator is the best entry level to get to know somebody for sure.
I mean, think about all your friends you met in third grade.
Yeah. I mean, I still remember one guy's name was Stinky because he just couldn't hold it. I don't know what his family was feeding him, hot dogs for breakfast, but it was not good.
Well,
But
and
yeah,
well, we got a surprise for you. Stinky, bring him up, Mike.
bring him on up.
Stinky's here to say hi. So,
We were just discussing the Olympics, Rick. I have not seen any of it this year. I am planning on watching bits of it on YouTube, I think. I
Yeah.
don't have any live TV anymore. I canceled that years ago, and I had a live, I think through Hulu, I had live for a while, but I canceled that not long ago either. So I don't know what's happening with the Olympics.
I know that the U.S. is doing pretty good. This morning we were ahead of everybody in medals, but the events we were winning kind of represent America, like skateboarding. We crushed it in skateboarding.
So
Fencing,
competitive
not so
eating
much.
and skateboarding, those are our
Yeah.
big ones.
Yeah,
we have the old ladies in cross stitch did really well.
yeah. I think we got third in gymnastics, second or third in swimming. Swimming, we used, Michael Phelps used to dominate.
Well, that
Yeah.
guy, do you see that guy who won the world's record on?
Mhm.
I can't remember what it was. It's a swimming event, but he goes to ASU here in Arizona.
Oh.
So Phelps has been helping train him. So, but he killed everybody. He was like almost a full length ahead of everybody.
Wow,
It's a
yeah.
French guy.
Yeah, I think the skateboarder, one of the top two skateboarders was from Mesa, so not too far out.
Like I was telling my wife the other day, it's like, for years, U.S. always dominated because just, we've got all the resources and the freedoms to do everything that we want to do. And then now the world's opened up and now everybody can watch everything on YouTube and everything else. So the skill level of everybody for basketball on up has gone up like through the roof. So the days of us dominating, I think, are diminishing a little bit. So get on it, everybody who's an Olympian watching.
Get on it, guys. Come on.
I am expecting for the U.S. to do very well, probably gold medal, probably in political dissent.
Oh yeah.
I think we're gonna pretty much
Yeah.
wipe the floor with everybody there.
Yeah, we're the fastest in taking any positive Facebook comment and turning it into garbage and misinterpreting everything that somebody else posts without doing research. We're crushing in those categories.
And we're proud of it. We're proud of it too.
Oh yeah. We'll misspell it and put it on our T-shirt.
So everybody's been making such a big deal about, the whole opening ceremony, which I didn't see. So I was trying to find it, and then I did find it and I started watching it, and it was like everybody was coming in, everybody's wearing their colors and everybody's having a good time dancing around, and there was some singing going on. And then I realized, oh wait, this isn't the Olympics. This is a commercial for Ozempic.
Nice.
But it's fine. It's fine.
Ozempic, Olympic, you can get them.
It's all the same. I just thought these athletes aren't in good shape. That's when I knew. So,
Well, we've come a long way in being proud of our problems. Like, used to be pill commercials. They would just show the pill. It would have letters in it that you would never be able to figure out on Wheel of Fortune. But now we've got people like dancing in the streets and taking their shirt off and showing me, like, hey, if you've got psoriasis, I empathize with you, but I don't need to see that slice of bacon across your face while I'm having breakfast. All right, let's cover that up a little bit. Goodness
there was actually some shame involved back then.
Yeah, a little bit of shame, a little bit of nobody
humility
know I
too.
have this.
Like, you guys remember this commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you put a paper plate in front of your face because you're humiliated. Okay.
I
Not
just find
anymore.
it odd that the word pride and being proud is something that's so prevalent for nothing. Like like psoriasis or whatever. I mean, that's a bad condition, but it's nothing to be proud of. You didn't earn it. It's not like you went out and put a lot of effort
No.
into getting it. So
Mike, but you
Kind of
can be
achievement.
proud of the diabetes that you acquired.
that's something for type 2
That's
diabetes
pride.
that I'm proud of.
That's pride.
That's something I've earned.
No,
But that word's used on everything,
Yeah.
from your skin color to your whatever, things that you claim you don't have any choice over. But I don't understand how that makes you proud.
well,
Yeah.
the other thing too is, like, if you notice, this generation a while ago, it started with, hey, by the way, welcome to 3 Angry Men. No, but I like all the songs, like I'm the greatest. Like everything's like what do you do? I don't do nothing. I'm still in high school.
Yeah.
Somehow they own the world, I get it. Have some self-esteem, but keep it in check a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
We tend to be a little boastful.
Just a little bit.
Where are you going to hang those paintings up, Brian?
Well, I took them down because I actually put up a new one.
Oh, yeah.
These are my Rick Roberts originals, by the way.
Hey, by the way, I'm doing a clearinghouse. I've got 63 paintings up in the bonus room that aren't good enough to sell, but if anybody wants them, they can pay for shipping.
Okay.
I love your paintings.
Those are your paintings behind you, right?
Yeah. These are a few of the ones I got going on that I kind of like. The top, I don't know, the one with the house, that was my fraternity house in college. And then I grew up working on horse farms. So I need to replace that one with one more horse-related painting to make my quintuplet complete. But yeah, I like to paint in the free time. It helps relax and remember. I like to paint. It's just like writing. Write what you know, paint what you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. You've actually in the last few years you started cycling, and then you started painting, and then you started this whole thing with cancer. I don't know what that was about, but
I needed a summer program.
You thought, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Too
Mix
much. Let's do something different. That's great though. I need a hobby.
Well, I tell you, get on a bicycle, man. You have a lot of dry days out where you're at. You have to kind of get up early and beat the heat. But one thing I've been working on is called Bike for Bucks, and it's to help fundraising events. So my goal was to see if I could ride 25,000 miles before I could help raise $1 million for different charities and nonprofits.
Wow.
25,000 miles is basically the equivalent of riding the equator. So around the world.
Wow. Okay.
And right now I'm at 20,000 miles and $1.25 million in fundraising.
That's amazing, Rick. Wow. Good job.
It's fun, man. So my goal now, I'm trying to get to 2 million before I finish the next 5,000 miles, which is basically a year, 5,000 miles. So this time next year, maybe we can jump on another call and see if I got to 2 million or not.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And it sounds exhausting.
It's, it gives you a reason to ride on those cold, rainy days or those
Absolutely.
hot days.
All right. Now I don't,
good.
just so you know, Rick, I've been cycling on a stationary bike in my house. So I'm up to 3 miles.
I think Brian and I think also our comedy career kind of is reflective of that. We work really hard, but don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, a stationary bike is great. When I was a kid, I had a stationary bike route. I delivered newspapers. So I just throw the papers in the corner of the room.
So we brushed over your painting, so to speak. But I don't know if you even have to count how many paintings you've done over the years, but you post them every once in a while. They're kind of cool. I really like them, and there are different styles too. It's not all the same style.
Yeah,
I saw this one just recently. I think you just posted that one.
Yeah, my son went out to Moab, and I thought I'd paint or try to capture. It's hard to capture. I mean, Moab's incredible, like Bryce Canyon or Grant. It's just like one of those places.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to try to recreate some stuff in landscape. I haven't found my own style yet, so I just keep trying different things, try a little bit of realism, then try some ridiculous, weird stuff. But it is relaxing. I probably painted 100 paintings or so, something like that. When I was in college, my last semester, how you had like 3 or 4 electives. You can take whatever just to kind of fill up the schedule. And I took a painting class, and we only had to paint 4 paintings in the class. It was a self-portrait, landscape, abstract, and one other. And at the end of the class, I'd painted 24 paintings. And they all were bad, but it was just fun. Like, it was a good way to just kind of go. And actually, the art professor gave me the key to the building. He says, "Hey, man, you're in here more than I am. Let yourself in and out. And there's extra paint." He goes, "I got extra paint from 10 years of classes. I just throw in this box. You can use all this." And I'd pick up a piece of wood on the way there and just clean it off and paint on it because canvases were kind of expensive for me back then. But it's just a fun, relaxing thing. You don't stop until you like it. And if you don't like it, you can paint over it.
Yeah. The nice thing is, too, a teacher can't fail you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you're not seeing my vision. You know,
That's right.
it's happening. Do you have a set time that you paint, or you just do it when you feel
It's
motivated?
it's almost a seasonal thing. Like in the wintertime when it gets dark at 5 o'clock and it's too cold to go outside, I've still got 6 hours before I go to bed. So I tend to try to do it in the wintertime. Sometimes in the summer when it gets too hot or a rainy day, I'll go up there. But typically like the winter break when things slow down, after Christmas and through January when it's a little bit slower for speaking and comedy. I wish maybe I'll have, I can create the time for it, but right now I'm trying to finish strong and retire.
That's got to be rough too, because it's not like I'm going to paint. I don't know what I'm going to paint. It's like writing too. Sometimes it's like to force yourself to do it as an exercise is one thing, but to try to make something that you want permanently, especially painting, is a little bit different than comedy. Well, I don't know if you've seen my paintings; it's the same, just one big blurred mess by the time it's all over. But
there's a lot of similarities.
There are, sure.
You have to in comedy, you have to have one single direction so you can misdirect the audience. In painting, like you can see up here on this one, like I really want to get out of my own way. Lead you right down this path to this barn. It's very centered. This other one over here, like it's hard to do this backwards.
Yeah.
The building, the grandstands point you right towards the main horse in the race.
Yeah.
So you learn, like I didn't know that on this one up here. I just kind of painted what I thought would be a race scene, and it's very flat. But these have a little depth to them, so you kind of learn as you go a little bit. The fraternity house very flat. The horse, and then it leads you back. I wanted to put a barn back there, but I never finished that one. So, but comedy, you have to have the dark to show the light. Same thing with painting. You need to have the dark to show the light, all that kind of stuff. Different styles. You can do a little bit. You can be one artist and do a little bit different styles. Painting, same thing with comedy. The really great ones are dialed into one specific style, but as you try to get to that, you try storytelling. You tell a few one-liners. You do a little bit of crowd work. You do a couple of impressions. Try to figure it out.
Yeah.
I've done a few oil paintings, which I don't think are very good. My wife insists on keeping them, although she insists on keeping them in storage.
Oh, well.
She does. Every time we move or do anything, I think, well, let's get rid of these. No, I want to keep them. But she would never put them up anywhere.
Oh, you've got a great wall right behind you to put them all up.
Yeah. But yeah, she doesn't have any interest in putting them up, which is fine. It was never a big passion of mine. Actually, the reason I did it was because my kids, at one point, when they were young, all their sports were taking up so much time. We finally told them, okay, you can choose 2 things a year. We're not going to do every season of soccer and softball and baseball and your football, all the little leagues, all those things. It was just consuming our lives. So, and we encouraged them to do a sports thing, but also something maybe creative. Nice. And 2 of the kids did a creative. They chose painting. Unfortunately, the place that we found for them to paint was about a 45-minute drive. So as a result, I had to drive them out there. That was the agreement. And so I ended up doing painting with them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it was nice. It was fun. But that's actually how I started doing improv also, same, because my kids needed it. And so I had to put it together. But long story short, it was just too late for that. But I ended up with a few paintings that we will never see.
Oh man, come on! Next time you go to stores, take a couple of snapshots and shoot.
You know what's funny is my mother-in-law had one of them, and it was her favorite thing. It was a picture of a painting of a barn out in the field, and she loved it. But somehow in the last move, it got lost. My wife's pretty convinced I got rid of it, but I did not. But we don't know where it went. So anyway,
have you seen the guy who goes?
What is your most creative outlet other than comedy and performing?
Creative outlet. So,
video stuff.
Yeah, my video stuff here and there. But I mean, as a kid, I used to draw a lot. As a kid, that was my big thing. I used to draw all the time. But I've gotten away from that so much. I don't know.
Well, you're going to be surprised, Brian. I just happen to have a bunch of your pictures you drew when you were a child. Here they are. No, I'm kidding.
And your report card.
I would say, please don't show.
And Mrs. Schmelch, your second grade teacher.
Here she is. The one thing, and Mike will attest to this because he's heard some of it. So Rick, my son was messing around one day, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, I found this new program, and it's a song creating program thing. So it's an AI thing. You can write your own lyrics and all that. Then it creates it. And I've been messing around with that as of late for
It's pretty amazing.
Some of my program stuff that I've been doing for little videos for shows coming up. And actually for Mike and I, we did a show recently, Mike and Brian's comedy experiment, and then did the theme for that too, which people at work were telling me it was stuck in their heads. They weren't happy about it, but they said it was stuck in their heads. So that's been kind of fun for me lately, is just trying to write song lyrics. Kind of like, I don't want to say poetry so much, but something like that, something with a rhyme scheme has been fun, and trying to figure that out. So that's been kind of it's funny to say when we talk about creative outlet and all that. I often don't think of creative outlets including technology so much, but they do. But so it's kind of a new tech versus the old tech. Even though it's AI and it's doing a lot of the work, I still feel like the writing part of it is the most creative part for me.
Yeah. Oddly enough, my electrician is really prolific at creative outlets, and we've got 3 electrical outlets in the bottom of the tub.
That is creative.
It's shocking, really. It really is. You don't want your electrician to have a creative outlet. You want that guy to play it straight down the middle.
Yeah, well, you want him to be grounded.
Yeah, you do. The ceiling fan in the middle of the kitchen floor, a little bit much.
You take all your paintings and take them to the corner and create a creative outlet mall. Did you ever try that?
A creative outlet mall. I like it.
Rick, you can stand on the corner and spin your photos, all your paintings.
I realized just now, I don't know why I didn't realize this before, but we didn't really properly introduce you, Rick, to the people, the 12 people watching this that may not know who you are. And but Rick is an old friend of Brian and mine. I don't know how long we've known you, Rick, over 10 years, I think. And just a fellow comedian. We all perform and do all that. Rick has, there it is right there.
Nice.
RickRoberts.com. You can find him there. He does great stuff, especially corporate events and things like that, all clean comedy. And you've done a lot of creative projects in the arts. You've done, aside from painting and performing, but in the performing realm, it's not just stand-up comedy. You've done movies and other stuff too.
Yeah.
Movies, TV series right now.
Yeah, that's right.
The Mayberry Man movie is now a series, and it's on Amazon Prime. I think you can, for like $4 or whatever, buy the whole season or whatever. Or you can wait a year and it'll be free, however you want to do it. But yeah, that was a fun experience, and we may be doing a second season. We'll have to keep an eye out for it.
But I saw the movie. Saw the movie. Haven't seen the series as of yet, but Rick's fantastic in it. I thought they did a great job with the premise of everything. I thought it was very.
Where was all that done at, Rick?
Yeah, the core batch of it. The movie all takes place at a Mayberry Festival. So the Mayberry Festival was recreated in Danville, Indiana, and a little bit in Mount Airy, North Carolina. And then the main character is a California Hollywood actor. So we did some shooting out in Los Angeles as well, at Santa Clara Studios. And it was a lot of fun. It was funny because during COVID, we shot the movie. I was doing nothing, and the guy called me up, the producer and writer. He's like, "Hey, man, I've been watching some clips online. We're doing this movie, about Mayberry fans. We're looking for a Barney Fife impersonator. You don't have to be Don Knotts or try to be Don Knotts or Barney Fife, just a guy who impersonates Barney Fife on the weekends." I'm like, "Oh, I actually used to do that before we got locked down, man." He goes, "Well, we're going to shoot for 4 weeks. It's up in Indiana. It's only 5 hours away." And so I talked my family into letting me go. But it was great because it was like a summer camp for 4 weeks, with a bunch of creative people, some lookalikes. One of my best friends now is Alan Newsom, who plays Floyd in the movie. He does a great job. He's a guy that really keeps Mayberry in the forefront for a lot of people. He puts on Mayberry meetups and all kinds of things. But met some other actors, and it was just kind of a cool thing. But had it been a regular year where we were booked, I couldn't have taken 4 weeks off to go do that.
Right.
Crazy.
That's what's great though, Rick, about you is that you first, for me, you came across my radar based on I did a thing. I did a CSI Mayberry thing with my radio show, and then later on I Googled it to see if anybody else had done anything similar. And then that little ad you did with there was a little CSI thing you had done. That's when you popped on my radar. And then years later, I don't know how you came across, but then I found your podcast too. Your podcast, still on in a few places. You're not currently doing any new episodes, but man, it's just a wealth of information for comedians. I started listening to that, diving into that. I think I cold called you at one point. That was the first time I talked to you. And then I don't even know how the rest of it evolved, but here we are now. But yeah, I've just followed everything that you've done. And, you know, you and I have a lot of similarities. We're close in age. We're like a month apart. Your birthday's coming up, right?
Yeah, August 18th. Whew.
That's right. You're 2 months and 1 day away from me. That's right. We're the exact same age. You're married, 2 kids. I think kids are the same distance apart, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm married to your wife as well. And those 2 kids are growing up fast.
That works. Yeah. So it's a shared experience. It's great. But yeah, I mean, just to watch you in terms of the diversity of what you've done with comedy is fantastic and motivates me too. So thank you for all that you do.
Oh, thanks.
And continue to do and inspire, even outside of comedy. And like you said, with your painting and things like that, I know it's a passion for you. You're not doing it to make the big bucks yet.
Yeah. Well, I think I remember you calling or emailing, and then I found out you were in Phoenix, and then I had a gig out there. So you're like, hey, man, let's go to lunch. And we went
That's right.
like a Bonefish Grill type place and had a little bit of lunch. And you told me about you and Mike doing cross-eyed comedy and some of that stuff. And I think that was before you came to the CCA.
Yeah, it was before that.
And then that got on your radar and you came out to that in Atlanta.
It was that weird gig where you lost your voice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. So
see, I knew that'd get her. I knew that would make him whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember.
So just by saying that, I remember the hotel I was staying at, the gig I was doing a workshop for a company at this resort, and there was no place close by to grab a quick meal. They're like, well, have lunch with us, you know, and I normally don't do that, but I sat down and had lunch, and some of their sauce on the chicken had ground up almonds in it or something. Like it wasn't labeled. And I ate like a whole slice of that chicken. And then 5 minutes before the gig started, my throat just swelled completely shut. And I could barely get out this much, you know, and sometimes just nothing came out. And the guy's getting ready to introduce me. And I'm like, no, give me 10 more minutes. And he's like, all right, we'll do a couple giveaways. Our speakers kind of got something going on. So I went out and got some hot water, you know, from the coffee maker and try to loosen everything up a little bit. I mean, I could speak about 3 sentences at a time.
That's scary.
It was crazy. But I think the lady who hired me wasn't in the room. So, you know, I went and saw her right after and told her what happened. So before she got the input from everybody else. And she goes, oh, somebody else had gotten an allergic reaction from the same food. So
wow.
like,
Okay.
oh, we should have told you. We're so sorry.
That's the worst when you go on stage. You just feel like you can't do it. It's very rare. Usually, even if you're not feeling well, at least for me, the step onto the stage is kind of enough of adrenaline rush to kind of get you past it all. But sometimes you just can't help it. When I had COVID a few years ago, I had a show. Actually, it was a show with Robert G. Lee, and I had recovered from COVID, but I had that cough that I could not get rid of. And man, I remember just being back in the green room waiting for him to finish so I could go on. And I tried my hardest to cough as much as I could, just kind of get it out, you know? And but again, like you said, you get like 4 or 5 sentences and excuse me, you know,
yeah,
it's pretty bad.
That's a good look too.
Yeah, it is. It's awful. And that same trip, by the way, I've never had a problem with my back or anything ever. And a month before I got COVID, my back went out really bad. Like I was completely immobile for weeks. So I was recovering from that. And I just remember the whole trip we drove from Phoenix down to, I don't know, near Tucson, I think, or beyond that. And the whole trip, Robert drove it. I just remember the whole time going, just probably making the trip miserable for him.
Oh man,
I apologized several times.
The best thing about that trip is I wasn't on it.
You weren't. That's right. Brian was unavailable for that. What were
I
you
just
doing, Brian? Do you remember?
I read the reviews.
Do you remember what you were doing that you wouldn't come with me on that trip?
I don't know. Do you remember? Because you know how my life is now.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
Well,
I'm home
anyway.
right now, to be honest.
Hey, speaking of gigs, did either of you? I recommended both of you guys to a lady who was looking for somebody to perform for a group of dentists out in the area. I think it was Scottsdale or somewhere nearby.
I don't
I was
recall getting that, but
No, I got it's funny you said I did not get that. I did get an email from somebody asking me to perform for a bunch of dentists, but I didn't know any of the dentists, and so I didn't. I thought,
Trying to get a straight answer out of you, Mike, is like pulling teeth.
Nice.
so. Anyway,
Boy,
be
was
sure to
the
come
whole
back and
movie-
visit us on Weekly Puncast.
Yeah,
You know what? I gotta say this. I'm gonna say it right now, and I'm not, so non-prepared for what I'm about to say to you, Rick. But in all the time that you and I have known each other and everything else, I've never done my Andy Griffith with you doing your Barney Five.
This could be an interesting thing. We should do that sometime.
It's never happened. You know what? You know what kills me is that during COVID we didn't do we should have done like a Mayberry a Zoom call.
Oh yeah.
Like
You know-
COVID and Mayberry. Mike, you can be Otis.
Let's give it a run.
I'll just be a quiet observer. I'll be Goober.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on one second. I'll make it official.
He's gonna get a visual. This will be interesting.
By the way, that was a glimpse of Rick Roberts in shorts. The anticipation is really, really
Now-
good. Ah!
Now nobody's gonna be watching the Olympics.
Marnie,
Hey, how you doing there, bud?
what are you doing?
I'm down here at the courthouse, just keeping an eye on things.
Oh, well. Now, Aunt B calling. She's gonna need you to pick her up, take her over the filling station.
Well, I can't take her over there. Last time I took her, she took me some of those kerosene cucumbers and almost blew up my gut. But if it helps,
Well.
I'll do it.
Now, Barney, you gotta let things go. You hang on to too much in the past. You gotta let it go.
Man, that's really good, by the way, Brian. Well, you know, if you let it go, they say if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it was meant to be. And if it doesn't come back, it probably got lost down there by Miller's Pond.
Well, that's probably right, Barney. But you still gonna have to go pick up Aunt B. And Opie needs a haircut, so I'll be back next week. But you're in charge.
Well, it's a lot going on there, Andy. I mean, between the haircut and picking up Aunt B and everything going down here at the courthouse, I don't think I have time to do it. I'm going to have to delegate some authority. Otis, are you with me? Otis? Hello, Sarah.
Well,
I lost you there. Had a bad connection.
now, Barney, sometimes Otis ain't got no improv skills when you need them.
Hold on a second.
It's the voice skills missing.
Sarah, I'm going to have to put you on hold for a second. Sarah?
That's great.
Oh, and
That was
scene
fun.
right there.
That was
Rick,
my
I-
Google assistant, Andy. They want me to redo some of my AdWords. Trying to get some work over there in Mount Pilot.
Rick, have I ever showed you my Andy Griffith on a cell phone routine?
I don't know. Let me see it.
All right, we're gonna pretend that this is a cell phone. Actually, let's make it more realistic. Sorry, I don't have two cell phones available. Pretend this is a cell phone. This is Andy Griffith on a cell phone. Sarah, get me Mount Pilot.
I like it.
Now, some context there, Rick. Brian, for the longest time, had a cell phone, old flip phone back in those days when we had those, which was broken, and it actually separated like this with wire, so he could do that.
That wasn't quite true, but it was floppy.
It did. Oh,
It
it
was
was floppy.
floppy.
That's what it was.
Remember, because the whole joke was I had to answer the phone like this. Hello.
Yeah.
That was it. You know.
That's
Yeah.
funny. You're an early adopter and a late let goer.
There you go.
That's what I am, man.
That is what I'm known for.
That was an appearance by my iPhone 6, by the way.
Nice. It's always good to have product placement in the middle of these things.
Yeah, just get some support.
By the way, if I mentioned my mud coffee,
Oh man,
we talked about
that is-
coffee earlier. I didn't bring it up, but I'm doing the mud. Not
that's
the
in
mud.
the bottom
so
of
much.
that cup there, buddy.
It's not a clean looking thing. That's for
Ooh.
sure. It's really dirty. That's why they call it mud.
So, I've never liked coffee. I've never been a coffee drinker, despite all efforts. I've always been kind of the school. And when you're young, there's things that are acquired taste like olives, coffee, those things. And I remember I tasted it and I thought I don't like that, so I never saw a reason to taste it again. and I still don't like it. But my wife loves coffee, but through nutrition and stuff like that, we've decided she's decided she doesn't want to drink coffee so much because it's got things in it that aren't necessarily good for her. And so she's tried all kinds of variations. What the latest one is, let's see, it's egg, butter, and those are the primary things. So it's egg, but and hot water.
And
And a piece of bread. Are we talking about French toast here, Mike? Are we talking about
so she blends that up really strong. It's high protein and all that, and high in fat, which is good. But the the coffee, I feel bad for her because she loves coffee and she keeps trying to make all these things that are coffee like.
Well, I mean, there's a lot. It's like wine. I think there's all kinds of different coffees you can get. The one I haven't tried that she might want to get, Brian probably has heard of this. There's a marsupial that eats the coffee bean. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the bat, I think it is. Yeah,
and then evacuates it through its process, and apparently that gets rid of all the acid and a lot of other bad things. And then they cook it to where you're not going to get any weird germs. And it's supposed to be like the smoothest coffee ever.
Must be super expensive though, too. I understand.
Yeah, because you got to pay those animals.
Yeah. And it's like making sure you get all of it out.
Yeah. They only eat one bean a day, so it takes a while.
Yeah. I hear it's supposed to be very tasty.
It's supposed to be good. I would try it. Hey, I've had. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Have you had a chocolate covered grasshopper before, or eaten a mealworm?
When I was overseas, I was in Thailand one time, and they served a bowl of soup, and it had eyeballs in it.
Whose?
I don't know. I think they were from like baby goats or something. They weren't huge eyeballs, so I don't think they were like a large animal. But
kid eyes? They're kids.
They were just little eyeballs. They were like two in each bowl. And
even worse. The more you talk, the worse the story gets.
Yeah, it was pretty.
If you look at your soup and your soup's looking back at you, you've been in Thailand. Thailand. We're next to Shirt World.
I think that's the weirdest thing I've ever eaten. Brian?
I don't. Right off the top,
was it the cafe here?
No. There's no poop museum. No. Don't get the shake there. I think I want to say a chocolate covered grasshopper, but I also, rattlesnake was the first thing that came to my head. I've had the rattlesnake, which is very chickeny.
Yeah, I had rattlesnake once.
Yeah, it's not that exotic here.
What about you, Rick? What's the strangest, the most exotic food you've ever had?
And oddly enough, I had a soup that just had eyebrows in it. It was the weirdest thing. I'm like, I wish it at least had some eyeballs so I could have some context here. It looked like two caterpillars trying to get around a ramen noodle. It was the worst.
Two eyebrows.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably had different chocolate covered insects before. The alligator on a stick you get at the fair, that's pretty good. Tastes exactly like chicken. Not bad. I've swallowed a lot of things, like riding my bike, like a lightning bug once.
Yeah. Did your butt light up after that, or?
Yeah. Only after 7 p.m.
You are what you eat.
I don't know. I've swallowed a lot of things riding my bike. Oh, here's the thing I almost swallowed, which would have been horrific. So I'm riding down this country road, and there's a bunch of buzzards. You see a lot of roadkill riding your bike, as you can imagine. And I think it's an old deer or something that you're just ripping up. It's probably 7 days old carcass because it's almost gone. And as I get closer, the birds fly off, and as they're flying off, one drops a piece of like the intestines or whatever it was down to of the deer, and it lands on my handlebar. And like I was looking up like, what? And it was like this close. Like I think it would have died instantly from some kind of bacteria. But
that's crazy.
You can usually smell like the roadkill, a few seconds before you get up on it, and it's just the deer have a very certain decay. And then that thing, and then I had to like get my elbow and just kind of knock it off my handlebars. And
that scene in Napoleon Dynamite where the bus pulls up and the guy shoots the cow?
Of course.
And the kids are all screaming. We had a similar incident when I was in North Carolina with my son and his family. The kids there, we were on a trail in the woods. There was a bunch of people out there, but some sort of hawk had gotten a squirrel and was tearing it to pieces on a branch, and just all the guts were falling down. I looked around. All the kids are looking up, screaming.
That's so gross.
It's
I can't believe you said that.
Tina, get some ham.
What the hell?
Gosh,
Gosh.
Nature's wonderful that way. What was I watching? Oh, I saw this clip where it was a hummingbird and a praying mantis grabbed it, and these
Really?
kids were screaming that were recording. They're like, "No, no, no!" And the next scene, it's holding it and it's putting its head down in its chest, eating, and the kids are like, "Cool." It's got to give them time.
Unbelievable. Like a praying mantis got a hold of a hummingbird?
Yeah, it was on the feeder, and the hummingbird came up, and it just boom, it grabbed it and pulled it in, and the hummingbird was trying, and it just started chewing at it.
Was it the mantis from Kung Fu Panda? I mean, that's a strong.
Yeah,
yeah.
it was that exact one.
I mean, we get praying mantis here every once in a while, but they're never. I couldn't imagine they're big enough to capture a hummingbird.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to Google that, man.
Google it and find it because it's impressive. It gives all of us hope.
That's amazing.
Maybe-
Like those are two of my
maybe an
favorite
Olympic
things in
event.
nature combined. But I never thought about them fighting each other.
Yeah, those are two things you wouldn't think. I honestly thought they'd be friends.
I love hummingbirds. We got two feeders, and one's next to kind of like a big bay window, and he'll come up. They're very afraid. Well, the females, especially during mating season, are just, I don't know how they get more than a sip, because they get one sip and they fly off. And the males will sit on the edge of a tree that has a couple of leaves off of the branch. So they want to be close enough to foliage if they need to, but they also kind of want to look like a stick.
Yeah.
And so they'll literally wait for the females to come in, and they won't let them get a drink, and they'll dive bomb them so they get weak and can't resist their advances. It's a lot, man.
There's something
We don't have
very wrong
cable.
there.
We do not have cable.
It's funny is when you see I mean, really, I think I've only seen it once in my life where a hummingbird is actually like sitting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
They don't
so-
like to.
Yeah, it's so rare.
They're the only bird that can fly backwards.
Mm.
Huh? They're like those harriers.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are
Yeah.
you guys up to this summer? Is it typical, a little bit slower, and then
Yeah,
start to ramp
definitely.
back up here?
For anything in the general area around here, it's definitely way slower. It's just so hot. People don't even the clubs don't get a lot of audience. They just people are too hot to go out. The last
Yeah.
show we had, I advertised it as in full color and free AC, trying to get people to come to it. But yeah, it's pretty slow.
Is
right
it true that they have companies that bring ice to cool your pool off so you can get into your pool?
now. I've never heard of that.
Well, I will say that my sister-in-law has it's a massive container. It's a cooling container for the pool that
Mhm.
drops it to about 80 degrees. So it's always a cool pool.
That's got to be expensive. I remember when we first
Oh,
moved here, we built a pool and we put a heater on it for the winter. Because despite what people think, the winters here, there's still plenty. They're very nice and warm, but the pools are not warm enough to swim in. So we did that. And so one year for Thanksgiving, we heated it. And when we got our gas bill that month, we thought, okay, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
That was really expensive.
Yeah. Just suck it up, kids.
I
Learn
can
how to-
imagine cooling's got to
swim
be
in a pool.
expensive too. Here they have the
Yeah.
pools have little mister things, so it recycles water and aerates the water a little bit. But it's in the middle of the summer here. If you get in a pool, it's going to be 95 degrees. It's not refreshing. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah, we have a splash pad in our backyard. We got when the kids were little, so it's like public park where it splashes and all that. We actually the tank is underground, so it does stay a little bit cool, but it definitely gets hot here. But we buy the bricks, ice bricks, blocks, and put them in there, and it works for about 15, 20, 30 minutes, maybe at times, depending on the day. But just the funny thing here is, man, the water's sometimes so hot when when you're not, you get that breeze, you're freezing. I mean, I freeze here a lot outside if I'm in the water because it's just, I'm getting cold now thinking of it. Yeah, that wind hits after you've been so hot and it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, my wife and I went for a walk the other morning and it was 89 at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oof.
And when we got back into the house felt freezing the minute we walked in. It's just the extremes are wonderful. But that
yeah.
only lasts for a little while.
the kind of weird irony in Arizona is I think a lot of women do this, but my wife in the summer has to bring a sweater with her because every place you go has got the AC cranked up so high.
Yeah.
She's
Especially
freezing.
movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that humidity difference here, like we wake up in the morning and all of our windows are soaked on the outside from
Wow.
the difference in condensation. So it's like, I mean, it's been like 98% humidity here for a week. You can't really mow the yard because it's wet all the time.
Yeah.
You know, usually I'll mow it, and if there's some clippings on top, I'll let them dry and then go back over them. And it's just everything's clumped up. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
How many shirts do you go through a day, Rick?
2 or 3 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the first CC I went to was the Mount Juliet one.
Mm.
I didn't understand humidity as much as I thought I did. And I remember just getting soaked that first day, and I took my shirt. I actually thought, I hung it out and it never dried.
Right.
I ended up throwing it away because I was like, I'm not packing this and taking it home.
Yeah, stuff doesn't dry. Like I've got a hot tub out back, and I'll jump in there in the morning and leave my towel out there, and it'll usually dry, and I go back around dinner time or whatever, and it's just wetter. Like it just collects the moisture.
Yeah. Yeah.
First world problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Again, if you're just joining us, it's 3 men talking about humidity.
What else did you expect? We already covered medicine and everything else.
Yeah, I think we have most of the things we're supposed to cover, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Hey, we mentioned we're all wearing glasses. I remember the first time I needed glasses. I was about 30 minutes into a ZZ Top documentary on TV, and it turned out to be Duck Dynasty. Like, even Frank let himself go.
What are these guys going to sing?
Like, but they're like, you definitely put it off because you don't want to get into announce one more thing I've got to do all the time. You know, I had gone through a drive-through, and I couldn't read what was on the screen to order. Like, so I just kind of ballparked it. You know, like, hey, I'll take a double cheeseburger, some onion rings, and a Coke. And she's like, sir, we can't do that here at Bank of America. You know, what are you gonna do? I wanted to see the curly fries go through that little tube. You know?
Tube,
That's
yeah.
a suction tube.
Yeah.
The Jetsons tube. Well, Rick, you have anything going on coming up that you'd like to tell people about?
Let me see here. I've got, if you're in the Jacksonville, Florida area, I'll be doing a fundraiser next Wednesday, the 7th. You can go to rickroberts.com and you can see where the church is. I've got a fundraiser the 7th of September in the Philly area, Springfield, Pennsylvania, and some other stuff going on later in the fall. But those are 2 open to the public things. A lot of stuff I'm doing these days, the public isn't invited or wanted there.
Right.
And the people who are there don't want to be there. So it's just
Well, and
kind
the
of a lot of-
restraining order you have too, that puts a damper on it.
Yeah. But yeah, just a couple things. They can always go to rickroberts.com, and right below the header, you can click a link to see the schedule, and you click the schedule, you'll see the old locations and ticket info.
Cool. Brian?
I will be at Stir Crazy this weekend, opening for Jay Reed Friday and Saturday night. And then the following week, I will be in Sedona Friday night. And then I will be Saturday with you, Mike, in Pine Top, Sholo
Yeah.
area. Pine Top.
White Mountain Country Club.
Yep. And then after that, on the 11th of August, I have my 2 student showcases with my improv class and then my stand-up class. And then I'm on a cruise
Nice.
with the family. So, well, it's my whole family. It's my in-laws, and yes, so I consider it work. So, so if you're on the cruise, stop by and say hi. So going to Ensenada, which I don't know what that's. Is that a food?
It sounds like something with free cheeses.
I think it is. I think it comes with free cheese. So then I'll be doing that. Then after that, I have no idea where the future's taking me.
Well, we don't have to look that far ahead.
No,
if I can tell you one
plenty.
thing I've learned this year is tomorrow's good enough.
There we
It's
go.
nice to have things on the schedule, but boy, that schedule can change in a heartbeat. So
Yeah, that's for sure.
enjoy today. Look forward to tomorrow. Don't
So
think
true.
too much about yesterday.
So true. Mike,
Well,
what do you
guys,
coming up?
thanks for
Mike,
joining us.
Mike,
Thanks,
what
Rick, for
are you doing tomorrow, Mike?
tomorrow.
Yeah, we're talking about the future.
He's putting ice in the pool.
I don't know what's going on. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I can tell you what I'm doing in a few minutes. I'm going to wrap this up.
He's going to have a hummingbird and praying mantis sandwich for lunch.
I'm gonna Google that for sure.
Yeah,
Google it. You won't be disappointed.
And no, I think I don't have anything really coming up that's public. I think the next thing that's public is not till September. So, but you can go to briankohatsu.com, rickroberts.com, or mikejamescomedy.com to find out our information and schedules and all that stuff. Thanks again, Rick, for joining us the last minute like that. I really appreciate it. And you guys hang on for a second, but we're going to say goodbye to everybody and have a great week, everyone.